Hello, Discover and Yoga, Discover and Recover Yoga, folks. It is the 19th of July. Welcome. It is Discover and Recover Yoga, D&R Yoga, brought to you by Two the Cores. 9 years old. At the Cores, 9 years old. July of this month, 9 years old. Started this endeavor back in what's that be? 2014. Scared the daylights of me to leave the corporate setting after 26, 27 years in the corporate world and launching this organization without having really been an entrepreneur before. It took a leap of faith. I did leap. Hope there was a net underneath, and in that 9-year time frame, I wouldn't have changed anything. There were some lean moments in the first couple of years, got creative with some finances and hung in there. And thanks to the local community here in Central Indiana, at the Core has continued to engage. I just got back from the Yoga Wellness Walk, YWW. As the name suggests, we do a 5K walk. This is with some clients, and during the walk, intermittently is introduced some yoga poses. We'll do balancing, we'll do some core, we'll do some stretching on this 5K walk. So it's an out and back on trail local here in the north side of Indianapolis. So glad you're here. This week's theme, today's practice. You know the phrase, you've heard it, you've seen it on bumper stickers, perhaps on coffee mugs. It is our opportunity to be present in the moment. One of my favorite mantras is that the breath and the body are always, and even though I'm trying to mitigate and minimize the use of the word always, in this context, the breath and the body are always in the present moment. It is the mind that has a tendency to wander. It'll ruminate on last month or last week, and it'll project into tomorrow morning or next week. Here we have the opportunity to stay present in the moment, being really mindful and intentional in our engagements with loved ones, with friends, with colleagues, with neighbors, even with strangers. Being open to understanding our awareness in the physical surroundings, how we're showing up in the emotional body, how we're showing up in the physical body. So that's our theme for today. Always looking for feedback, questions, comments, anything that's can help you along this discovering journey, discovering that which no longer serves us, whether it's procrastination, envy, resentment, anger, fear, whatever that might be. And then we recover through this process. This isn't the only modality. Of course, there are dozens and dozens of other ways to find your way through the minimizing or releasing of this. And this is just just peeling back the layers of the onion from here. 30 years in the recovery space. So there's a number of ways that we can work on those character defects, whether it be through a recovery program, through some kind of counseling, therapy, all kinds of modalities have really increased this opportunity to engage in recovery over the course of the last 15, 20, 25 years. A lot of new ways to approach that. So here is one of my favorites. It's through movement, through breath work, through some meditation, and being again mindful of in this mindfulness container, in this mindfulness opportunity. It's the present moment. So we're going to begin seated. I'm choosing to come onto this rolled up or folded up blanket, which is helps me lift the hips a little bit. Lower the hips, or lift the hips, lower the knees in this seated posture, cross-legged. Some call it crisscross applesauce. If cross-legged doesn't work, you can certainly do butterfly pose. Like here, if that doesn't work, you can just draw the legs out front. Some students will come onto their knees. So whatever that seated posture is, let's begin there and simply just assess where you are in this moment. Be really intentional and mindful of how you're showing up, whether you're doing this in the early evening, late afternoon, morning time. Just show up. I think that's half the challenge. We get to suit up and show up on this journey. So to become more aware of the physical body in this moment. Soften the throat, soften the jaw, lengthen the spine. Thinking about the extremities, the hands and the feet. Yeah. And then checking in with the breath. Just acknowledging the inhales and the exhales, being present in each inhale and in each exhale. I'm going to suggest that the exhale goes through the mouth, the inhale through the nostrils. So let's find getting full and rich and deep on this breath pattern, this diaphragmatic breath pattern. But notice when you inhale, see if the shoulders want to shrug up. Let the shoulders remain soft, eyes open or closed. A couple more rounds of that full and rich and deep diaphragmatic breath pattern. Inhale expands not only the chest, but also the belly. And the exhale, as those who are familiar with the sessions, I just think so fondly of the exhale to be that release valve, that letting go of those characteristics. That's a figurative, metaphorical way, but the exhale can be such a wonderful tool for releasing anxiety, fear, trepidation. As we draw the hands to the heart center, here's that acknowledgement of the heart center, what emanates: kindness, compassion, empathy, tolerance, patience, forgiveness, but ultimately love emanating and pouring forth from the heart center. If there's another idea, maybe you are in that present moment. Maybe you're thinking about how does that feel? How does that unwind on this walk for me today in my environment, with my people, with my tribe? Or there's another idea, another concept, setting your intention, your purpose, your desire around these next minutes in this session, or the balance of this day or this evening, wherever you are, whatever that might come to mind at this moment. Sending some love, some light out to him. Maybe a loved one, somebody who's struggling in your midst. And please interlace those fingers. As we exhale, press interlace palms forward. Carve out the core. The chin is in. Yeah. Stretch across, find some release across the shoulder blades. Now inhale those interlaced palms towards the ceiling. Towards the sky. Eventually the right hand to the floor. The left arm is going to bisect that left ear. So we're moving laterally with the spine. I'm going to draw energy into that left hip. If you'd like to move the head of it, yes or no. It's going to work the higher energy centers in the head and the neck. Some might want to let that left hip pop. So I'm going to see if I can purposely draw energy into the left hip. We'll hold here for 3. So think about left arm bisecting the left ear for 2. Now, please, here we go. On 1, bend that left elbow, left hand behind the head. Inhale, may open that up just a bit as you twist a little to the back. Exhale, left elbow to right thigh. Inhale, we open and twist. Exhale, elbow to thigh. So that's the motion. Inhale to expand. Exhale to contract. Oh, I haven't mentioned we're going to, hopefully you've begun that nostril breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. We'll go for 4. Breathing steady into this for 3. Inhale opens up that left side body. Here we go for 2. Last one. Let's go ahead, return to neutral. Yep. Finding that position back at the heart space. Whatever little micro movements to get yourself reset. Reinterlace the fingers, please. Except the less dominant thumb on top, press it forward. Yep. So purposely round through the upper back. We carry some stress between the shoulder blades and the upper back. Also, the hips have a tendency to kind of, have some stress stored there. Draw the navel to the spine. Now inhale those interlace palms towards the sky, towards the ceiling. Now here we go. Left hand down, right arm up and over. So same thing, other side. Again, maybe the left fingertips walk a little further out. You can draw energy into that right hip. There's the movement of the head. Yeah, nice. Right fingertips are reaching across the body. We'll hold for 3. Breath is flowing like water. Thank you, Rolf Gates, for that visual. For 2. All right, now bend that right elbow, please. Right hand to the back of the neck. Inhale may open you up just a bit. Exhale, right elbow to left thigh. Maybe left knee. Inhale, we rise and expand. Exhale is the twist. Inhale to the possibilities. Exhale, we'll fold in. Here we go for 4. For 3. Here's 2. Last one. And then you return to neutral. Place the hands wherever the heck you want them to go, wherever they feel comfortable. Little micro movements. If you'd like to uncross and recross the legs, that's an opportunity. Any little shifting taking place in these moments. Okay, here we go. Discovering recovery yoga, folks. Transition to hands and knees. Some will float directly through the cross-legged. I'm just going to uncross the legs, take my prop out from underneath my bum, hands and knees. Oh, hello, Matt. Once this position is there, inhaling for cow, exhale for cat. Inhale, dips the navel low. I'm going to let the gaze lift. See how much I don't have much range of motion in this undulation. But the exhale, I can get a little more rounding through mid-back and upper back. That's cat. So let's flow through this a few more times, please. Inhaling, dips the navel low. Lifts the gaze, soften the throat, soften the jaw. Exhale, we get round. Okay, let's pause here. What I'd like to do is introduce a static cow. So inhale and pause in cow posture. So the navel's dipping low, the gaze is going to lift. We're going to hold this for just a moment. Some will have the toes tucked under, some will have the tops of the feet pressing in. Heart strong forward as we hold for 4. But you're not holding the breath, you're still breathing, but you're just in a static cow posture. For 3, relax the throat, relax the jaw, almost there for 2. Thanks. Now on 1, neutralize, we're back to neutral. Neutral tabletop. Now the opposite, cat. Pin towards chest. I'm pressing into all 10 knuckles. Feeling that rounding. And continue. We'll hold for 4. All 10 knuckles pressing into that, chin is in, holding that steady for 3. Breath is flowing, almost there for 2. Nice. Now on 1, guess what? Back to neutral. And let's begin the spin. Whatever direction you're going, I'm going to see how I can take those shoulders as far out over the wrists, comfortably out over the wrists. I'm going to release side bodies out towards the edges of the mat. I can feel that maybe into the hips, into the low back as you find this rhythm. It's an oval shape. I've got some students that do the figure 8. So if you'd like to mix this up and go figure 8 version, otherwise, and maybe noticing how close I can brush my hips to the heels as we spin in this direction a couple more times. Now, please take it the other way. So if you're figure 8, infinity, you're just going to circle or do the figure 8 in a different direction. If you're oval or circular, please notice, observe, be present as the wrists are warming up, the knees and the hips, the shoulders are engaged. Here we go for 4. 3. Big spin for 2 or whatever size spin. And then, yes, you're back to neutral. Good job, guys. All right, from this tabletop, I've got a block in my midst, and this is just a prop for some. From tabletop, I'm sinking my hips to my heels. Now, for some, this is too much for the knees, so a block, a book, a pillow. This block can be placed between the ankles at the highest height for some support. Some will take it to the middle height. It could be also just a gentle reminder. It could be a blanket or a pillow that's put between the calves and the hamstrings for that variation. And if none of those work, it's still too much for the knees. Just simply up onto this position. So I'll call it mountain pose on the knees. But if it's available, hero pose. So there's a knee popping. Hands come to the heart space. Little check-in at the heart center. Once again, what emanates. Some will do this with the toes tucked under. That's a big stretch to the soles and balls of the feet. So I'm going to do that for a few breaths here, but if it's too uncomfortable, you can just have the tops of the feet pressing. Please re-interlace the fingers, like press interlace palms forward. We did it seated. Now we're just doing it in this kneeling posture. We'll hold for 3. Nice, almost there for 2. Now inhale, those interlace palms towards the ceiling. Nice. Now float on the exhale, hands to the low back and let's spine. Knuckles are drawing south, collarbones are spreading, shoulder blades are squeezing. Oh, maybe the gaze lifts. You can jet the lower jaw out, stretch the front of the throat a bit. Collarbone spreading. We'll hold for 3. Nice, breathing into that for 2. Now, please, wherever you are, release that. Maybe give the shoulders a little love, a little shoulder shimmy. But eventually, the hands come back underneath the shoulders. Let that little momentum take you into the first downward dog. Yeah, toes tuck, hips lift, heels go low, hands at shoulder distance, feet about hip distance apart, where we start to bend one knee and then the other. Please know, hanging upside down during this process, if it gets too much, just come back down to table. Always available. Yeah, I've got some students that will take the feet out wide. Maybe even some students that take the hands out wide. That might feel kind of weird in your downward dog if you're mostly used to the hands at shoulder distance or feet at this distance, but that's just a little experimentation. Heels are low, hips are high. A lot of energy as all 10 knuckles press into the floor, into the mat. Nice. All right, little power poses coming up, D&R Yoga folks. Inhale to the tiptoes. As we exhale, let's bend the knees, stack the shoulders above the wrists, shins are hovering, tabletop floating. We'll hold for 3. Hopefully the breath is flowing, almost there for 2. Now 1 hips high, heels low, downward dog. Okay, we have 2 more of those. Inhale to the tiptoes. Exhale, let's rebend the knees, rehover the shins, restack the shoulders above the wrists. That's it, guys. We'll hold for 4. Building some combustion. Working the chest and the shoulders for 3. Yes, nice. Almost there for 2. Now 1 hips high, heels low, downward dog. Okay, a little add-on to this next version of floating tabletop. Inhale to the tiptoes. Exhale, let's revisit the float. Option, right hand to left shoulder, left hand to right shoulder. And we're just tapping. And I'm trying to minimize that side to side sway. So opposite hand to opposite shoulder for 6. Nice. Breathing into that for 5. So you can keep those knees parallel to the shins parallel to the floor for 4. Beautiful. Here's 3. 2. Nice. Now I want, if you haven't already, please lower the knees. Untuck the toes. Big toes to touch. Draw the knees out wide. Child's pose. Your version of child's pose. And I say that your version, maybe the forehead makes it to the mat. If it does, wonderful. If it doesn't, you can put that forehead on block. You can put the forehead on the back of the hand. Stacked fists. Either one of those variations, any one of those variations. Maybe a little shimmy to the shoulders. Maybe the knees draw a little wider. Wonderful opportunity to do a full, rich, and deep breath in. And on the exhale, yes, please let it go. Whatever it is. Okay, D&R folks, let's go ahead. Let your next in-breath draw you back up to table, which means probably a little bit of an alignment check. I got to draw my knees back underneath my hips, wrists back underneath the shoulders, retuck the toes, relift the hips, downward dog. Notice what you notice in this second version, maybe a little opportunity to shimmy yourself into this, a little tail wag, a little shoulder shimmy, internally rotating those forearms. You might feel a stretch, an expansion across the shoulder blades as you bring the eyes and the elbows towards the middle of the mat. Inhale, that right leg lifts. On the exhale, I'm bringing that right foot between the thumbs, first lunge. However you want to get the right foot up there, take your time. Nice. Left foot's going to anchor down. Left arm's cartwheeling forward and up, warrior 2. So right foot is forward, left foot is back, warrior 2. I've got my strong outer edge of that left foot rooted, right knee and right ankle are stacked, steady gaze over the top of the right fingertips. Inhale, let's exalt. Right hand goes high, left hand goes low. Maybe the left hand wraps around the low back. We'll hold here for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now release it back out to the warrior 2, please. Inhale, we're long through the fingertips. Exhale, right forearm to right thigh. Left arm is bisecting that left ear. Oh, yeah. Spinning upper left ribs towards the ceiling. You can bring that right arm out to meet it. If you like, other right arm stays to 4. Right forearm to right thigh. Beautiful. We'll hold here for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Nice. Now let's go ahead, untwist the torso, frame that right foot. I like to lift this left heel. Others keep that left heel grounded. Left hand stays to the instep of that right foot and the right arm lifts. Revolved crescent. Beautiful. This can be done with that left knee down and that left foot flexed. Flat. We'll hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now eventually right hand is down. Right foot is back. High push up goes to low push up. Inhale draws the heart through. We find a version of up dog or cobra. Exhale, we're going to retuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Okay. Once that's reset, you guessed it, left leg lifts. Here we go, to the top of the mat with that left foot. However you want to get there, you can do with the right knee down. Beautiful. Right foot's going to anchor, right arm cartwheels up and around, warrior 2 on this side. I'm just switching sides. Left foot is forward, right foot is back. Warrior 2 on this side. Yeah. So think about that torso. Cob will be facing the long edges of the right side of the mat. Steady gaze, top of the left hand. Inhale, exalt. Nice. Left hand low, right hand. No, right hand low, left hand high. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. We'll hold steady for 3. See if we can get that deep bend into that left knee. Almost there for 2. Now release it back out to the warrior 2, please. Inhale, going long through the digits. You guessed it. Left forearm to left thigh. Right arm's doing its best job to bisect that right ear. Spinning upper right ribs towards the ceiling. Beautiful, guys. Long line of energy. That right middle finger to the outer edge of that right foot. We'll hold for 3. If you'd like, that left arm can come out to meet it. Breathing steady into that for 2. Now, please, let's untwist, frame that left foot. I like to lift the right heel. Others keep it grounded. Right hand stays, left hand lifts, revolve crescent. Can be done with the right knee down. So think about right arm at 6 o'clock, left arm at 12 o'clock. As we hold for 3, breathing into that for 2. Now, when left hand comes down, right foot comes up, forward fold, standing forward fold. If there is a block or a book within your vicinity, that's a great little prop to use. Otherwise, you can dangle, you can bind, you can sway. Beautiful. Eventually, palms to shins. Inhale, draw the crown of the head forward. So think about body like a number 7 shape. Exhale, fold deep. Oh, yeah. One more time. Palms to shins. We call it half lift. So think about long from the crown of the head to the tailbone, and then fold it back in. Oh, yeah. Arms are out like wings. Reverse swan dive is going to take us to standing. We'll face the camera. Palms meet above the crown of the head. Give yourself a hand. Heart center. So we revisit some of these poses over and over on purpose. There's a little muscle memory component to this. Indeed, takes some time, but here's a classic mountain pose. At heart center, we'll call this, in yoga practice, we call it samastiti, a little blending of the breath, the body, and the soul. Eyes open and closed. Knowing again what emanates from the heart center. Ultimately love. Beautiful. Releasing the hands down by the sides of the body. Relax the fingers. Relax the hands. Any unnecessary stiffness, any tension, any burdens, just let them drip off the fingertips, drip off the shoulder heads. Core slightly engaged. We've been talking for several months now, mitigating the forward head tilt. It's as if I'm bringing the front of my throat to the back of the neck. You may feel like the chest is lifting. When you're ready, let's sweep the arms wide and high. I invite you to find this extended mountain pose. Right hand grabs left wrist, side bend to the right. So that left hip draws over. I'm going to put the weight into that left foot. Right toes reach out to the side. Now I could keep the toes grounded, or I might flex that right foot to find the balance on that left foot. So you're not only binding and bending, but you're balancing. We'll call it the three B's as we hold here for 3. You touch down, that's awesome. Breathing steady into that for 2. Ooh, yeah. Now on 1, come back to center. And once again, reassess mountain. Big breath in. On occasion, I'm going to say, let that exhale go through the mouth. So generally speaking, we're practicing that nostril breathing. Some rationale is that the nostril hairs, the mucous membranes, can be the first defense against some of the allergens, some of the pathogens that are in some of the air we breathe. I know of late, the Canadian wildfires is bringing the smoke down into this Midwest area, making the air quality index a little wanky. So nostril breathing. But if you are affected by that, opportunities to stay indoors. Inhale once again, arms come up by ears. Extended mountain pose. You guessed it, left hand grabs right wrist side, bend to the left. Hello, right hip. Hello, right side body. Hello, right foot. It grounds. The left toes come over. They may stay grounded, or you might flex for the bend, the balance, and the bind as we hold for 4. I'm using that left hand for a little leverage, breathing steady into that for 3. Ooh, I'm almost coming. That's it, guys. Almost there for 2. All right, on 1, back to extended mountain pose, and then mountain, regular mountain. So I've got a referral partner that's in the Beartooth Mountains out in northern Utah, northern Wyoming, parts of Montana. Beartooth Mountain Range, gorgeous. When I visited it years ago, when I lived in Bozeman, Montana, in 2021, when I took a road trip out to the west through the Beartooths, through the Bridger Mountain Range, gorgeous snow-capped peaks, the majesty, the brilliance, the sustainability of mountains, how thorough, how powerful they are. Relax the fingers, maybe lift the toes. I've got students that can spread their toes really wide, they almost spread them like fingers. And then eventually, the toe pads make it back onto the mat. Beautiful, guys. From this position, I'm gonna go ahead and take this left leg and lift it. Yeah. So we're gonna pause here. So if you have a prop, a chair, or a wall in your midst, that's an awesome. Otherwise, arms are gonna come up by ears. I'm gonna take this right hand to the outside of the left thigh and that left arm towards the back of the mat. So it's almost like we're twisting in a supine position on our backs. I'm gonna maybe draw this left thigh a little closer across midline. Yeah. Maybe gazing over that left shoulder or more towards the front. We'll hold for 3. Nice. Breathing steady into that for 2. Now please relax and release. Woo. Going back to mountain. Okay. One side might be a little significantly different than the other. We'll honor that. Weight now shifts to this left foot, right leg lifts. And I forgot to mention this cue. So I'm really getting pressed into that left heel. My left toes lift for a moment, but then just a moment later, they press back into the mat. Arms go high. So some bring that left leg back or that right leg back. I'm thinking forward because now left hand to right thigh, right hand maybe to the low back, or maybe it just extends and you gaze over that right shoulder. A little balance challenge on this side. So honor that. Be kind to yourself as we find this standing twist. Beautiful. We'll hold here for 4. So I'm kind of want to dump into that. So think about really pressing into that left heel and all 4 corners of that left foot for 3. Nice breathing steady to that for 2. Oh, I'm coming out of it a lot. And then on 1, please. Coming back in. Okay. A little shimmy the hips. Side to side. Nice. And then we once again pause. Mm-hmm. So hello feet, as I lift the right heel and lower, lift the left heel and then lower. And then yes, I'm gonna lift and both heel and I'm just gonna walk in place. Just a little stroll. Hello, metatarsals, hello, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue that keep the feet healthy. And doing these small things that we can do to really let the feet, a lot of folks struggle with plantar fasciitis, bunions, corns. So really helping the feet stay healthy. So we go for 4. Nice. Here's 3, 2. All right, on 1, you're back to mountain. All right, from mountain pose, we're going to come up onto the tiptoes. Nice. Lifting heels as far as high as possible. And then just a slight bend into the knees as we bring the arms to parallel. So we're balancing on the balls of the feet. Shoulders are soft. A little balance challenge, yeah. You start to feel this into the quads. We'll hold for 3. Nice, breathing into that 2. We'll call it a shallow knee bend for 2. Now, everything re-straightens to mountain. Okay? For me, I like to shake it out. I like to give a little shake out because we got one more of those knee bends from the balls of feet. All right, from mountain, when you're ready, we lift up off the heels, onto the tiptoes. Nice, finding that balance, and then we begin the bend. Now maybe it's from a shallow knee bend into a deep knee bend. So listen to your body. It'll communicate. It's the best educators to say how low you can go as we hold for 4. Nice. Heels may lift a little higher, breathing steady into that for 3. Hello, quads. Almost there for 2. Beautiful. Now let's re-straighten. And maybe some knee popping. And back to mountain. Again, a little shake out. I know some gymnasts like to press into the tops of the feet. I've got some that give a little rotation to that ankle. Notice it's my whole leg seems to be rotating. I'm just trying to isolate that ankle, which is a little hard for me to do. Other foot. Nice. And then back to mountain. Oh yeah, I'm joining you guys at the top of the mat. Inhale, let's sweep the arms wide and maybe a little baby back bend. Open up that chest, shine that beautiful heart, and as we exhale, swan down. So I'm lengthening out through those fingertips, flat back, forward fold. Guess what? Maybe peace fingers to mat or palms to shins, half lift. Exhale, fold it deep. Nice. If you feel warmed up enough, you want to hop back, you can just walk it back, plank position. Opportunity to hold here for 3. Feel free to get a yogi push-up or 2 if that spirit moves you that way for 2. Now, if you haven't already, on 1, please lower the knees, flatten the feet, right elbow lands underneath right shoulder, left elbow lands underneath left shoulder. Continue walking the knees back, hips to the mat, Sphinx pose. A little shimmy here, perhaps. Now, this next movement is relatively subtle. I'm drawing right shoulder towards left forearm. It's a little right shoulder towards left forearm, gaze down the left side body. So a little releasing right shoulder toward left forearm, and then we come back to center. Now it's left shoulder releases to right forearm, gaze down the right side body. And then back to center. Let's go one more time. Left shoulder. Mine doesn't come anywhere close to that left forearm, but it's just releasing that shoulder, gazing down the left side, and then back to center. Other side. Left shoulder, release. I want to say collapsing, but it sounds a little dramatic. Bringing that left shoulder towards the right forearm, gaze down the right side, and then back to center. Beautiful, nice. Some have the option to bend the knees. That's going to engage to the low back a little bit more intently. Feet are flexed. Relax the throat, relax the jaw, relax the low back, mid back. We'll hold for 3. Nice, breathing into that for 2. Now, eventually, lower the tops of feet back to the mat. Elbows are going to come out. We're in cactus arms. Nice. Once again, rebend the knees, chins perpendicular to the floor, and let's begin the movement from side to side. We're windshield wipering. Floating the legs, the lower parts of the legs from side to side. If you feel like the knees or the thighs are coming out towards the edge of the mat, just bring them back into about hip distance. Resetting that low back. Oh, there's something popping on the left knee. Beautiful. We'll sweep for 4. Nice. Feet are flexed. Here's 3. Here's 2. Nice. Now, our last one, pause. Tops of the feet come back to the mat. Fingertips in line with the tops of the shoulders. Let's purposely press up to table and then back to child's pose. You'll hear me say this. This version of child's pose may have the knees a little closer together. And that in this case, maybe it's easier to place the fists on top of each other. If it's available, maybe the forehead makes it to the mat. And if none of that works, just draw the knees out wide. So we're going to extend the spine after flexing it in that Sphinx pose.
Wonderful opportunity to return to that diaphragmatic breath cycle. We'll hold for 3. All is well, breathing into that for 2. All right, eventually, you guessed it, we're going to come up to table, making our transition to our seated posture. You float to the right hip, you can float to the left hip, swing the legs around to the front, seated staff pose. I want to kind of dump into this, but let's see if we can find that nice tall spine, long spine, hands at the back at the heart center. Interlace the fingers, except index finger is going to point towards the ceiling. Let's take those index fingers high and then exhale, hinge to the, let's lead with the index fingers. Yeah. So there's a little bind in us in this fold. Biceps are by the ears. Yeah, wherever that takes you, wherever that fold takes. And I have a baby bend into the knees. That's because some issues with my low back as we hold for 3, breathing into that for 2. Now let's inhale, lift those index fingers to the ceiling, and then release out and down. I'm going to purposely draw this right heel in towards the right glute. So I'm going to try to find this position. Right foot nestles to the outside of the left thigh. I've got some students that will bend that left knee, left heel towards right glute. For me, it's easier to keep the left leg long. So I'm going to keep my left leg long. I'm going to see if I can get my right foot to connect to the surface of the mat. Arms will lift, and let's twist. I'm going to twist it to the right. Left forearm to the outside of the right thigh. That right hand, probably at, maybe some have it drawn way out here. I'm going to see if I can draw that heel of that right hand a little closer to the right side body, right glute. So it becomes like a second spine. Some will take that left elbow and bind that right knee and like such, like so, as we hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now, please, let's uncross or untwist and then just gently release that right leg long. Okay. Little reset now, you guessed it, left knee draw or left heel draws in towards that. I've got the bind, right foot is out. Oh, left foot to the outside of the right thigh. Left foot to the outside right now. Frankly, on this side, I am able to bend that right knee, draw right heel towards right glute. It works for me on this side. It doesn't on the other side. If it doesn't for you, ideally you'll know because both sits bones are connected to the surface. If you don't, then you continue to keep that right leg out long. Arms will lift and we twist it to the left. Right forearm to the outside of the left thigh. Maybe that right elbow binds that left knee. Notice where the heel of that left hand lands. Nice. We'll hold here for 4. Nice. Breathing steady into that for 3. Here we go for 2. Now please untwist. One or both legs come back out to length. We'll shimmy that out. Okay, I'm just kind of walking forward a little bit as I point the toes, making sure I've got room behind you, fingertips reach, and we're going to begin that slow descent. So a little rolling down the spine, and we pause here. We'll hold this steady for 3. A lot of energy through the toes and the fingertips for 2. Now 1, rise back up. All right, 3 more of this as we lower down to another vertebra or 2. We'll go a little lower. We'll hold here for 3. Hello, core. Breathing steady into that for 2. Now 1, rise back up. Okay, here we go. A little lower on the 3rd version. Variation is grab the hamstrings or put the forearms on the mat, maybe the fingertips. But here's our 4 engagement. We'll hold for 4. Maybe a little shaking going on, breathing into that for 3. That's nice, almost there for 2. Now 1, we rise back up. All right, I continue to have the toes pointing. Some may want to flex the feet. Just choose. And then here we go. Let's go as low as we can. Yeah. Nice. Here's our chance to hold. We'll go for 5. Variation is there. Modification is there for 4. That's it. Maybe do a little shaking. Here we go for 3. Nice. Almost there for 2. All right, on 1, lower all the way down. Reach the arms overhead. Let's find morning stretch, evening stretch. Hello, extremities where the fingers start to wiggle, the toes engage, the wrists rotate, the ankles, windshield wiper. Inhale, find some length. On the exhale, both knees draw in. When you bind. Yeah. Give yourself some movement. Yeah. Maybe some side to side movement. Oh, yeah. Eventually, the arms come out like wings. You guessed it. Knees to the right, gaze is left. Knees to the right, gaze is left. Now, if that right thigh doesn't find the floor, no worries. You could put a blanket or a prop to let that right thigh land on that for support, gazing steadily over the left shoulder. Mhm. Big breath in, big breath out. All right, here we go. D&R folks, let's come back to center. I'm going to bind again. Most people are going to grab the shins. I've got some people that wrap the fingertips around the knees, some grab the hamstrings. Because I'm so tight through the hips, I have to lift my shoulder blades in the back of it off the mat. But eventually, they return, shoulder blades to the back, and they return to the mat. Arms, once again, like wings, knees left, gaze is right. Any tension, hello spinal twist. Check in, maybe you get full and rich and deep on the inhale. See what happens on the exhales. We hold for 4. Maybe that right shoulder blade wants to pop a little bit. Just be aware of that for 3. It's almost there for 2. Nice. Now on 1, come back to center, please. Dare I say I do, I'm going to rebind. I'm going to rebind. Squeeze it in. And then as I let the bind go, the legs go stick straight to the ceiling or somewhere to the ceiling. Modification, right hand underneath the right butt cheek, left hand underneath the left butt cheek. Other variations, the hands down by the sides as we begin the ever so slow descent. Yep, you can have relaxed feet, feet flexed, toes pointed. We're lowering the legs. Sits in the little core engagement. Yep, so hands underneath the bum, palms down, so nice modification. So take your time. There's another train coming as we slowly, intentionally lower the legs to the floor. Once they're there, let's rest. The feet might splay out. You might take right ankle, right corner, left ankle, left corner. I've got some students that prefer to do butterfly pose on their back. Neither one of those work. Sole of the feet on the mat might take some pressure off the low back. So please choose your version of Savasana. Turning to the breath as a little opportunity. I call it the Savasana sweet spot. So once you're physically, got yourself nicely situated with any little wardrobe, any little micro movements, check in with a full and rich and deep breath in. And your exhale through the mouth so that you are nicely organized, nicely situated for these few minutes of Savasana. Finding some strength in the stillness, power in the pause. Or yes, the opportunity to revisit your intention. Maybe something comes to mind about, what can I do to practice being in the present moment? And be more aware of my physical body, my emotional state, my mental body. The palms up, we call a little more receiving of energy. If the palms are down, maybe a little more grounding of energy. More moments, please. Feeling front side of the body kind of melding into the back side of the body melding into the mat, the surface of your mat. Okay. Opportunities now is to bring some movement back into the body, fingers, maybe the toes. If the legs have been straight, you can bend them. If they've been bent, you can straighten them. Head might move from side to side. You might curl the tongue. You might wiggle the toes, snap the fingers. Eventually, though, an inhale draws both knees back into the chest. A movement from side to side, front to back, maybe. Some in this position will float either the right side or left side and find a fetal position. I'm going to come out to the right side. That right arm becomes like a little pillow. Left hand is just in front of the chest, in front of the chin. Renewal posture. Individually, collectively, however you find yourself to see today. I'm going to return this blanket underneath my bum as I return to that cross-legged position. You return to wherever you began, whatever seated posture is going to work. Opportunity to reassess, realign, readjust. Discover that which no longer serves, recover through this process, through breath work, through some stillness, some meditation, and being in that mindfulness state of presence. The hands drawn to the heart space. Thank you, guys. What a joy, what an honor. Questions, comments, again, always welcome. In the traditional fashion, we close. Please know the divine light, the teacher, and the spirit that dwells within me, indeed, with a bunch of gratitude, a bunch of humility, and hopefully a mindset and a heart set towards better understanding and being in this present mindedness, this present moment state, bows to the divine light, the teacher, and the spirit within each of you guys. Namaste. Be well ones, one and all, drink lots of water. That's D&R Yoga for July 19th. Until next week.